Hi guys, welcome to this video, welcome if you're new here and welcome either way. This is going to be my autumn wrap up. Hi guys, editing Cara here, just popping in here to say that I ended up filming for like an hour talking about the books that I read, not really in autumn but sort of late summer, so I've decided to split the video into several parts and this one is just going to be the books that I DNF'd in the months of July and August, I think. So yeah, I will see you in the next video. And back to past Cara. Still very late. I'm filming this in December and I don't know if you'll recognise anything behind me, but I'm currently staying with my aunt and uncle who I'm staying with them for Christmas. However, it is currently about 8 o'clock at night and I have perfect lighting, or at least much better than at least my last two videos, as I have recently invested in a ring light. As you can see, I've got the boxes and wrapping paper, not wrapping paper, bubble wrap from when I literally just set that up so I could film this video. So to get into it, I've got my laptop down here. The first one, which I can't remember if I talked about in my last wrap-up, was A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. This is a very famous play and I think I was reading it because of the fact that I wanted to have read it and it comes so highly recommended, but I just think I'd be happy to see the play, but I don't think it's something that I'm going to read. I know it was super short, but I don't think it's really for me. The next book I DNF'd was American Born Chinese by Jin Yuan Yang, and I think it was a little bit juvenile. I did like the art style, but again it was very, very cutesy and I don't know, not for me. The next book I have here is Faggot, Steel Kiss and Gulag by Robin Fulford. Now this is a set of two plays all centred around the murder of a gay teen. And why didn't this work for me? That premise sounds really good to me and I think someone else writing it, I could really enjoy it. Because of the fact that it has such a small cast and the scenes are so short and who plays what character changes so fast, it's really difficult to keep track of who's who, and it really felt like an exercise in being able to craft different characters in an improv game rather than a fully formed play. I also thought that the text was quite juvenile in terms of the language used in the conversation, and I guess it's believable because I think most of the characters they're playing are young teens, but it was just a bit weird, not for me. Next one I have is Top Girls by Caryl Churchill, which is a play I picked up completely at random, never heard of it. I think that in my unhaul I said I'd mention more, but honestly I didn't get far through it at all and I don't think I could tell you anything about it, to be honest. So just not for me. One that I can tell you a bit more about is Be Gay, Do Crime by Mary Nardini Gang. And this one I picked up, if you saw my previous videos, at a coffee shop slash bookshop. And I just thought, oh, that title sounds really interesting. And what to say about it? It felt like the sort of book, you know when someone texts you and they use all caps and you read that message as if it's shouting in your head? It felt like this was a book equivalent of that. As I was reading it, I was like, this is being shouted at me. This is how I'm interpreting this. It said some interesting ideas, but I think that it was ultimately sort of overwhelmed by the sheer amount of just like, I guess, the angry tone of it. And yeah, I mean, I think it was interesting, but in the end, not something for me. I think that it will have its audience, but not me. This is one that I really, really hope does find its audience, which is just not me, which is Fierce Femmes and Notorious Liars by Cheng Thom. And this is a book about a trans character, and it sort of goes through this person's transition process. But the issue I have with it, for me personally, is it's so steeped in metaphor, and I think that the style of writing could really work for somebody, but I was just getting completely lost and confused as to what we were talking about. This character is often using storytelling to represent parts of their transition, and I only really got it half the time, but I think it was beautifully done, and I would highly recommend it for anyone who thinks that that could be for them, but just not for me. Don't take a shot how many times I say not for me in this video. You'll be very unwell. The next one I have here is Under the Oak Tree by Suji Kim. This is a comic book or a web novel that I read a little while ago, and then I noticed that it was also a novel, and I decided to give it a go, and I think the issue I had with it was the translation. It felt a little bit like it had gone through Google Translate, so if this gets a better translation in the future, I may give it a go, but it didn't sound very good when I read it. I think it's originally Korean, so I may give it another go in the future. The next book I've got is The Lavender Locker Room, 3,000 Years of Great Athletes by Patricia Nell Warren. Now, this is sort of going through queer lives in sport and sort of the history of queer people in sports leading up to the present, and that concept I'm interested in. I'm interested to see how LGBT people have sort of survived through what is notoriously quite a homophobic environment. But I do not get on with her writing. It really felt like she was putting words in people's mouths, which is something I really don't like when a not very well written biography that's not by the actual person, when someone's sort of putting words in someone's mouth, and I'm just like, you can't know what they were thinking. You can only really give us facts and then tie them together in that scenario. You can't really say they must have been thinking this or they were saying this because of that. We just don't know. So it just didn't work for me for that reason. The next one I've got here is Coraline, the comic adaptation. I really love Coraline as a story by Neil Gaiman. The only thing I have to say about this is that I really didn't like the art style. If they make another adaptation of it with a better art style, I may give it another go, but just not for me. And I think all the others I've got there, I DNF'd in December, so you will hear about those then. Hi guys, editing Cara here again. Just to say that that was all the DNF'd books that I read in not autumn, but sort of July, August time. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one, where I will talk about the books that I actually finished in those months. So I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye!